After a bride found out her fiancé was cheating, she got the most epic revenge at the altar. On the eve of her wedding day, Casey discovered that her fiancé, Alex, had another woman, leaving the devastated bride-to-be determined to expose his cheating ways. Casey was poised to marry Alex, the man she adored, but in the final hours preceding the ceremony, she received a number of X-rated phone messages that proved that her husband-to-be had been sleeping with someone else for months. Rather than cancel the wedding, though, Casey vowed that it would become the perfect setting for a dramatic act of revenge. And this woman, Scorned, reportedly later told her story for the world to hear. But let's start at the beginning. You see, before she got those texts, the happy bride-to-be was seemingly enjoying the countdown to her wedding day with a bunch of her closest friends. Casey and her group were actually spending their time in the posh hotel room chosen just for this wedding catch-up. The bubbly was also flowing because Casey naturally expected this to be her last day as a single woman. The Australian fiancé had reportedly been with her partner Alex for 6 years. After all, and she'd known straight away that he was the one. Their families had become buddies too, so everything was in place for what Casey believed would be the best day of her life, complete with the fairy tale ending. Casey, therefore, apparently thought little of it when her phone buzzed again to announce the arrival of a new message. She was expecting it to be yet another person wishing her well for the next day. So, glass in hand, Casey jokingly shimmied across the hotel room to pick up the new message, as a bridesmaid remarked on how busy her handset had been that evening. But the message Casey later reportedly said she received instead provoked tears of heartbreak and horror. Alex, it transpired, had apparently not been an honest and committed fiancé. In fact, the message revealed that Alex had been getting very intimate with another woman, and Casey now had copies of the X-rated messages he had exchanged with his side chick. The proof was reportedly all there in unpleasant detail. A question allegedly sat alongside screenshots of these lurid messages. "I would marry him. Will you?" Scanning the text, Casey became all too aware of the true extent of Alex's betrayal. The messages even ranged from months back to just a few days ago. Casey apparently then realized that the messages were real and that they showed the ugly truth about what had been going on. The tears started to fall even as she read through them. "Every word was like a dagger in my heart," Casey reportedly told writer Danielle Colley, who related the story on Whim in November 2018. According to Dr. Rowan Burkhart, speaking in a video called The Psychology of Cheating that accompanies the piece on Whim, there are two main causes for infidelity. The first is what the cheater probably sees as a problem in the relationship. The second is the straying party failing to have romantic feelings for their partner. In the first instance, Dr. Burkhart says in the video, a person can react to a problem by stepping out of the relationship into the arms of someone else. And in the second case, the cheater needs to find this romantic connection elsewhere. This is when attraction for a person outside the relationship becomes all the greater, he explains. These details likely hadn't occurred to Casey at the time, though, and after a sleepless night, Casey reportedly decided that with the wedding funds spent and people having already traveled to attend, she shouldn't cancel it. So she apparently opted instead to pay Alex back for the hurt he'd caused in the most public way possible. So on the day of her wedding, she was shaking with nerves just like any other bride. But instead of concentrating on a blissful life of togetherness, Casey was apparently thinking of something else: revenge. As she reportedly told Whim, "This was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, I knew it was the end of my dream relationship, and everyone was going to witness it." Casey later reportedly said her dress felt like a costume as she walked toward the altar, anticipating the huge dramatic scene to follow. When she reached her waiting groom, you see, she had no intention of reciting vows. Apparently, she put down her bouquet, got out her phone, and prepared to recite the incriminating texts instead. "I stood at the front of the room in my wedding dress and looked out at the excited faces of our friends and family," she reportedly recalled in Whim. "My hands were shaking, but not nearly as much as my insides quivered." Then she apparently kicked off what was to be a shocking speech by announcing there would be no wedding today. Her address seemingly then covered all the embarrassing details about Alex and his mystery woman. Many messages contained sexual references and went into a lot of detail, such as the one which went, "Your body is effing incredible. And shit, do you know how to use it? I wish my girlfriend had half the skills you do." Another read, "I miss you so much, I can't stop thinking about LSFing you. I never had this kind of connection before." Despite most of them being rather too much information, Casey apparently thought making them public would be an effective way to humiliate Alex the way that he had humiliated her. His secret finally out, Alex apparently didn't hang around. He actually hurriedly left the church with the gawping faces of his family, still coming to terms with the revelation left behind. Perhaps fittingly then, Casey had the final word, offering anyone who still wanted to the chance to celebrate anyway. She said, "I love all of you, and as horrible as this is, I'm glad you're all here. There will not be a wedding reception today, but instead there will be a celebration of honesty, finding true love, and following your heart even when it hurts." And despite the upset of her broken heart, Casey still apparently had one hell of a party. After the story broke, Casey's tale appeared all around the web. Elle Online even asked readers to vote on whether they would have also exposed a cheating lover at the altar. The response? Roughly 60% of people said they would do just as Casey had done. It seems that dark deeds, as the site says, should be made to come to light. Many respondents on website Irish Central, meanwhile, praised Casey's actions. Graham Houghton said, "A very brave woman who deserves and will certainly find someone better. I wish her luck and happiness." Will Agee expressed similar sentiments, saying, "Wow, very strong and forward-thinking of her. Honesty is the best policy with self and others. Blessings all." One suggestion made by Intolerant Liberal was that the story could be made for the silver screen. He commented, "Hollywood will no doubt be making a version, a rom-com set in Boston, starring Brad Pitt as the baddie, Jennifer Aniston as the wronged, and a plethora of other B-list stars. There won't be a dry eye in the house." And Jennifer Aniston could arguably be a very good woman casting choice for a lead role as a betrayed woman. After all, that's the part that the media seemingly so often tries to assign her in real life. This goes back to 2005, of course, when Aniston split with then-husband Brad Pitt after he'd been cast opposite actress Angelina Jolie for the movie Mr. and Mrs. Smith. In that particular case, though, Aniston hadn't sought any kind of public revenge against Pitt, yet she did make occasional comments in the press. For instance, in September 2005, the actress told Vanity Fair that Pitt was missing a sensitivity chip. She also later confessed to Vogue that she felt that an interview Jolie had given was really uncool. But even though Aniston didn't take things any further, a public shaming session can obviously seem like a very attractive way of dealing with an unfaithful partner. Casey is far from the only person who's ever taken vengeance against a cheater after all. You don't have to take our word for it either. Many such instances over the years have made it onto the internet and gotten people talking. In 2014, for example, an unfortunate man named Charlie Fisher was reportedly accosted at an airport by not one angry girlfriend, but three. According to Cosmopolitan, you see, Fisher's girlfriend, Becky Connery, had noticed a suspicious text on his phone. It was a message from a woman called Lizzie Leland Cunningham. So Connery had reportedly contacted Leland Cunningham on Twitter only to have her fears confirmed. Leland Cunningham was Fisher's girlfriend too, but things then had gotten worse. Apparently, in fact, there had been even a third girlfriend who didn't wish to be named in the media. Fisher had reportedly been cheating on all three of them. For revenge then, the girls reportedly arranged to meet at the airport, where Fisher was returning from a trip, to confront him as a group. And as soon as he appeared, they said the ladies began following him, shouting, "Cheat and liar." They apparently only halted to tell all to Fisher's grandmother, who subsequently did nothing to intervene. Connery also made sure that Twitter knew about Fisher's bad behavior. She even posted a picture of the three women at the airport and captioned it, "Just been at the airport to meet my cheating boyfriend," with the two other girls he was seeing. The message then quickly gained over 24,000 retweets, and lots of people praised Connery too. Connery later told the Daily Mail that she had become friends with the other two girls. "They're great. I'm seeing both of them for nights out soon," she said. "We can't think what we saw in Fisher in the first place. I'm so glad we confronted him. It's not the 16th century anymore. Girls don't have to put up with this." Perhaps there's a spot in their group for Casey now. It's worth noting, however, that it's not just women who call out unfaithful men. It can work the other way around too. In 2015, for instance, a video of a man seemingly shaming his cheating girlfriend went viral. The brief footage, released online, shows a woman blindfolded as a man sings happy birthday to her. The woman then removes the blindfold, only to discover that the guys apparently packed her bags so she can leave. For some people then, it seems that there's greater satisfaction in shaming people in front of a bigger audience. During a 2011 Packers-Bears game, for instance, a woman was spotted holding up a sign that read, "My cheating ex-boyfriend is watching from the couch instead." And not only was the message seen by those around her watching the game, but broadcaster NBC picked it up as well. The story was subsequently essentially used as a warning to other men who might have been thinking of straying. God, can you imagine if this guy was watching the game at home with his whole family for Christmas? Noted the website Mediaite. Let this be a lesson to everyone out there. Don't cheat. And if you do, don't get caught until after the big game. Mind you, it's not just large stadiums that can provide opportunities for cheater exposing signs. In 2017, in fact, a Twitter user called Ali Tonkin posted a picture of a poster she'd observed on the streets of Warwick, England. It read, "Graham, if she's so good in bed, you can stay there. Merc keys in the canal, locks changed, cards maxed. Happy New Year, Linda." Well, there's a Graham in Warwick who's having a much worse day than me. Go Linda, the accompanying tweet read, alongside the hashtags woman scorned and naughty boy. One of the comments on the tweet also expressed sympathy for the evidently wronged sign hanger. Poor girl, they posted, better to just be honest and walk away. There's even been a memorable case of a person seemingly deliberately outing themselves while shaming a partner. In 2010, you see a woman called Yvonne Wilkins reportedly paid for billboard advertisements in major American cities that declared that she'd been in a relationship with a married man called Charles E. Phillips. At the time, Phillips was in President Obama's Economic Recovery Advisory Board, so he subsequently found himself in difficult waters. Phillips ended up admitting that something had gone on too. "I had an 8.5-year serious relationship with Yvonne Wilkins," he said in a statement. "My divorce proceedings began in 2008. The relationship with Miss Wilkins has since ended, and we both wish each other well." Yet the incident was, of course, a source of major embarrassment for Phillips. But at least Wilkins stayed just about on the right side of the law in her quest for revenge. After all, a 2018 story from Australia proves how many lines supposedly scorned people are occasionally willing to cross. In this particular case, you see, a woman was reportedly caught spray painting her cheating boyfriend's car with offensive words. And according to the Daily Mail, she then picked up a baseball bat and hammered as much of the car as she could. So it was clearly a situation that could have led to major trouble for the woman. Fortunately for her, however, it seems that the owner of the car forgave her. A report has been filed, but the victim has stressed that he does not want to pursue any further action, a source from the police stated at the time. But as you can see from these stories, the internet, and perhaps people in general, apparently loves to hear tales of cheating partners getting what they deserve. And with the rise of social media, the aggrieved parties can declare their anger and hurt to millions of people with one click of a button. Casey's story alone is proof that it works. Where does this urge to want public retribution for a betrayal come from, though? Well, it's been a part of social interaction since long before the internet was invented. In fact, our ancestors had many creative and sometimes appalling ways of shaming people who had committed even minor wrongs. There's the story, for instance, of a 17th century man called Captain Kemble. Apparently, this sailor's crime was simply locking lips with his spouse on a Sunday. And never mind that this had reportedly been the first time he'd seen his wife in 3 years. Kemble was still sentenced to serve hours in the stocks as a result. So are viral videos and posts such as Casey's just the 21st century equivalent of this humiliation tactic? Yes, Casey said in her piece for Whim that she wasn't sure how to feel when it was all over. Her wedding guests apparently appeared to feel the same too. There was a smattering of awkward applause and a little cheering. What was the correct response to this news? She wrote. Hopefully, though, she'll never need to perform an epic revenge ever again.